Hello, this is Jeff Batone of Jeff Quest. It's not even Jeff Quest Games, it's just Jeff Quest. That's awkward. Anyway, I am here with three volunteers, Jonathan, Curt, and Dash, and they are going to be helping me. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, live long and prosper. They're going to help me do an actual play of Boldly Go, which is up on Kickstarter right now. And oh yes, I set it up so that it's not backward. That's awesome. Okay. So for those of you who aren't aware, Boldly Go is a tabletop role-playing game that I've made, and it is set up to emulate one of the longest running science fiction franchises. Not the one with the lightsabers or the one with the blue box, the other one. And so what we're going to do is I have used the random adventure generator from the back of the book to create a random generator, which I prepared slightly earlier. And you are all going to first make a ship and then make crew and then set off across the galaxy on wild adventures.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to have you all do is open up that shared ship sheet, and you can all poke around in it, or you can just have somebody be the ship scribe and put all the results in, either or. But before we get to that, I'm going to quickly explain how this whole thing works. So Boldly Go is based on a system of my own design, which is called the traits system. You don't have stats or skills or special, well, you do have special abilities, but it works a little differently than other games. All you have are traits. If you don't have a trait in something, you assume that you're boringly average. So like if you're strong, you're always going to be strong. If you're weak, you're always going to be weak. If you don't have anything that describes it, you're just, boring. In the game, what happens is that there are two main types of traits. There are traits that are mostly positive, which means that they will usually benefit you. And then there are traits that are mostly negative, which will usually trip you up. Although, depending on the situation, they can switch over. A negative trait can become beneficial. A beneficial trait can become negative temporarily. So what happens is in the game, your character and your ship and sometimes your equipment will have traits. And you will use traits thusly. You will approach a problem. And so let's say, oh, the ship got hit by a torpedo and this panel exploded and now it's on fire. So you say, well, I want to put the fire out. The first thing you do is you grab a D6. Like this is the special one from the Kickstarter.
Ooh.
In 3D.
Ooh.
Okay, thank you. So you always get one die to start with because you're a person doing a thing. Then with that die in hand, you start building your dice pool. So you pick any trait that you think will help you solve the problem. So are you an engineer? Yes. Are you very brave? Yes. Are you resistant to fire? Yes. So you basically keep on going until you have all of the traits that you think will be applicable to the role. And if you're not sure, you can try and say, well, I think my blah, blah, blah will work. And I'll usually say yes, depending. And then what happens is you roll. And anytime you roll a 5 or a 6, or anytime you get on the Kickstarter dice this special little ship icon, that means you have rolled a success. In most static challenges, which means you against the environment, you will need 2 successes to pass a challenge. If you are working against another person, you roll, they roll, you compare successes, whoever has more wins. Now, if you have a negative trait, like let's say you're scared of fire, which is perfectly reasonable, most people are, you would have to volunteer that during the challenge to me because I'm not psychic and I don't know everything on your character sheet. And then what happens is if it's a resisted challenge against another person, then they get +1 dice to their pool. And if you are working against something in the environment, the number of successes you need go up by 1. The good news is that you will get what is called a drama point from that. Drama points are special Benny's, Jonathan is going to be using poker chips for his, that you will get over the course of the game. And you will basically accumulate them for either failing or whenever certain traits of yours are called out, and a couple of other situations. You will then spend them to improve your rolls. And I'll show you when we get started, I will show you the drama point sheet so that you can see how they work and what's happening. So basically, the quick version is that you get a drama point anytime you fail a roll, anytime you get hurt, anytime you have one of those Bones and Spock discussions where like Bones has the trait, I want everyone to live, and Spock is like ruthlessly logical. So Spock says, well, Doctor, I think that we should let the colonists die in order to save the people on the research station. And Bones goes, no, damn it, we can't do that. I'm a doctor. Since both of their traits get triggered, they both get drama points. In addition, if the captain calls you into a conference so that you can discuss a problem, the captain and everybody else gets drama points. You then have a pool of drama points which you can spend to improve future rolls or slightly alter reality in your favor. So it's like, no, I actually know the code to the reactor door or whatever, anything like that. Since this is a one-shot, it doesn't really apply, but in long-term games, what will happen is anytime you spend a drama point, it turns into a promotion point. Promotion points are experience points that you use to improve your character. Any drama points that you don't spend go away. So it behooves you to spend them if you have them and you're feeling like your back is against a wall or a bulkhead or like a piece of styrofoam rock or whatever. Okay, so that is very, very basically how everything works. So the first thing that you do in Boldly Go is you work together to design a ship. And designing a ship will help you determine what kind of adventures you want to go on, and what your interests are, but also it will help you decide like who you want to be and who your other crew members are. So like for instance, there was one ship that got made and it's like, we're a diplomatic ship and we've been in service for a really long time. And one of the players is like, my character is the android who is the liaison for the ship. And she's very diplomatic and very tired of all of this. So we will start there. So let me see if I can get this.
I got a sheet up. I can take notes. For
Okay,
that
cool.
way.
I'm going to try sharing my screen so that I can show you the first thing you're going to need to know. And this is ship classifications. So this is basically the type of ship you are in. It is a trait, which means that in certain circumstances, you can call upon it to do interesting stuff. So for instance, if you were in a fight and you were in a cruiser, cruisers are the warships of the fleet, you get an extra die to fight your opponents in space. Meanwhile, if you're transport, you probably wouldn't get that, but you'd get it if you needed to like carry something very, very far across the galaxy. So the first thing you should do is talk amongst yourselves and decide which of these things that you would like. And if these things do not work for you, by all means, pick another option. That's totally fine.
Okay.
I'm feeling either cruiser or experimental.
I like experimental. I'm also vibing on that. I was thinking experimental or research, so I'm about that.
Experimental it is.
Okay.
Awesome. All right.
All right. So let me just read to you from. If I switch windows, does it share it on the thing?
Let's try it out.
Are you still seeing the list or are you seeing the rule book?
The list.
Okay, cool. All right. So
Where's
I
the
will just read this from the rule
classification
book. Experimental ships feature one or more new technologies. It is the duty of their crews to field test this new technology in as many locations and scenarios as possible. Experimental ships are equipped with better but unproven versions of current generation technologies. They also feature large rosters of experienced systems and engineering crew members to gather data and make the necessary repairs. So that's that. That's your basic ship. Now what's going to happen is you get to pick traits for your ship. Since there are 4 or less of you, there's actually 3 of you, each of you is going to get 2 traits that you get to pick for the ship. And this isn't something you do in a vacuum. This is something that you can, talk amongst yourselves again and figure out what it is that you would like to have. And I have a sample ship trait list prepared here. This isn't the only traits list you can pull from. You can basically use anything that you like. The ones in bold are positive traits. The ones in italics are negative traits. And so ship traits can apply to one system of the ship. So like weapons, engines, shields, yada, yada, yada. They can apply to the ship as a whole. So like helm, or like, you know, one of the ones here is, I think it's either Pride of the Fleet or Pride of the Fleet. So it's like the Enterprise, where it's like, oh man, it's that ship. That ship's awesome. Or you can apply it to the crew. So for instance, there's the negative traits untested crew. Everybody's an ensign and nobody's been in space before, and that could be a problem, but it also could be a benefit. We'll see. So between the three of you, 6 traits to pick for your experimental ship. Go.
I just want to appreciate the title Army of Ensigns for a second.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful.
So I think having pinpoint teleporters is a pretty important thing with lots of different uses. So
I like that idea.
Okay.
I'm definitely into both. The Xenolab is a very interesting. I think that could be a very interesting play into any story. I like the idea of having that on a ship.
What kind of Xenolab though? Because this one said forest. I just figured you can you can be whatever you want though. Like it doesn't have to just be a forest, right?
Right. It could be Xenolab.
the sea.
Yeah.
That means we're going to do more adventures on the ship than off the ship.
You could, which will save us a lot
true.
of money in the long run.
Who needs those sets?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
budget. Yeah. Is that like our ship's holodeck? Is that what this is?
That's right. And everyone knows we should unplug that nonsense before we even begin.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you make a good point. I do like the crew-like family trait. I'm definitely hardcore into that one. That's like one of my.
Okay.
I like the idea of a well-working, like well-collaborated crew.
Excellent.
Okay. So right now we have pinpoint teleporters and crew-like family. I'm going to give us our first experimental piece of tech, and it's unproven AI systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you would like, you can use one of your NPC crew picks to define that AI later.
Ooh.
Okay.
Dun dun dun.
Okay, so we all get one more, right?
No, you get 3 more.
Well, no, we all get one more each, and then that's
Yes,
3
one more each. Yes, sorry.
Okay, I'm going to jump in because I'm going to grab a negative one and say infamous.
Okay.
I like that.
That's why we got a crew-like family. No one else wants to be on the ship.
Oh, so you're all troublemakers. Excellent.
I think I'm also going to go with a negative trait. I'm going to go with small.
Okay.
I like the idea of something like that's not gigantic. I think it would be interesting to work on, like within smaller confines.
Okay. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. In which case, we are going to go. I don't see beef jerky drive anywhere.
You don't, but you could add it.
So we could have a beef jerky specific replicator. It was budget.
Everybody's eating Slim Jims.
Let's see. No, I think we need something. We need something that really makes this ship like the thing that it is.
Yes.
So already we've got some unproven AI systems. Thanks, Hal. And now
problem,
we're going to
Dave.
need. Yeah, we need some kind of crazy drive system.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's a temporal drive system.
Ooh.
Okay. Time drive.
I like that. I
Yeah,
think
me
that's
too.
a great idea. That's wow.
Is that all 6?
That's it.
Okay. So one last thing, you're gonna have to name your ship.
The Endeavor.
I like that.
Done.
All right. So you are the crew of the SFS Endeavor, an experimental ship. And now that we know what ship you're on, we're going to go to the character creation section. So, and we'll go there preemptively. But you should open up those character sheet files that you have or that you've printed. And now what we're going to do is we're going to determine your character, who you are on the ship. So the first thing that you're going to pick is your species. And there are 7, which I will just list super quickly. There are humans, which are self-explanatory, I hope. There are, let me get to the section of the book so that I remember to list them all.
Got Toan.
Yeah, there are Gotoans, who are cat
Oh.
people. There are Krakenoids, who are tentacled squid people. There are Mordans, who are gender fluid, silicon-based people with metal skin, who all kind of look like David Bowie. There are Ridians, who are sloth people. There are synthoids, who are androids, and then there are hybrids. And hybrids are basically half human, half something else that's not a synthoid, because synthoids can't reproduce that way. So if any of those things strike fancy, pick one and write it down, and then we'll go to the next step. I remember, Curt, that Ridian was calling to you.
Actually, I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go human.
Okay, humans.
I'm gonna keep things simple.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna go Gatoan.
Okay,
I'm gonna go Morden.
awesome. Okay. All right. So your species determines 2 things about you, which you can see on your sheet, but which I will orate for the viewing audience. You will get 3 bonus traits for your species, and these are like things that are common to every member of your species or things that are stereotypical or whatever. You will also get a special ability. So we'll start and just go down the line. Humans get, as bonus traits, Indomitable, Outside the Box, and Warrior species. So you don't mess with the humans. They also get the special, the Human Spirit, which means anytime anybody tries to control your mind or break you psychologically, you get +1 die because you never give up, because you never learned how. And Jonathan, you're a Gatoan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have enhanced senses, fight tooth and claw, and territorial. And you are desert adapted. That's your special. So you don't get thirsty super often. And Dash. As a Morden, you get the fragility of life. You have great strength, and you are silicon-based. And your special is earth-shaking punches. What that basically means is that normally when you fight unarmed, you do non-lethal damage by default. you have to choose to do non-lethal damage because you hit things hella hard.
Okay.
So once you've written that down on your character sheet, I will proceed to the next thing.
Good.
Okay, everybody all set?
Ready.
All right, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to pick your occupation, which is your job on the ship. So I will just run through them super quickly. I will list captain last, even though I just listed it, because it has a few weird little rules. Your occupation is your role aboard ship, and it's also a trait. So like if you're an engineer, anytime you want to fix something, you're like, I'm in engineering, and you get an extra die. So it's engineering, helm, medical, science, security, social science, which is like culture stuff, and history and whatever, systems, which is like the computer and communications, and the captain. So the captain is special for a bunch of reasons. The first reason is that there can only be one captain on the ship. Second of all, they get some special abilities that help out the rest of the crew. The captain isn't necessarily the, you will do like what I say and blah, 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 blah. They're actually more like a support class. So the first thing they get is a second occupation. So they get to pick one of the other ones, and they're that too. That's how they came up through the ranks. It's like, I was a helmsman, now I'm the captain. The first thing that they get is they get leadership, which is anytime another player follows their direct order, they get +1 die to their pool because they have to impress or are scared of the captain, depending on how the captain wants to play it. The captain also can give their drama points to other players to help them succeed on their roles. The second thing, which we touched on briefly before, is conferences. So at some point, you're going to have to talk about what the problem is so that you can fix it. The captain will call a conference. The captain and anyone who's in the conference gets an extra drama point just for showing up. If any of your traits get triggered during the conference, you get a drama point for those as well. If you do not want to be a captain, any of you, I will make an NPC captain using the NPC captain rules. And those rules are slightly different, but functionally the same. So first of all, what does everybody want to be?
If no one else wants to be captain, I'll do it, but I'm not so inclined to do it that I would want to do so if someone else was interested. That makes sense.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
I was going to say I was going to be captain, but Dash, if you would.
Oh, no.
no.
Go ahead. That sounds, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I'll do medical then.
Okay. So that's a trait and your occupation. So write that down on your sheet. And Jonathan, you're going to be the captain.
So rank and occupation are captain, or do I rank as captain? I choose a different occupation.
You get captain as an occupation, but you also get any one of the other ones as an occupation.
Right. Okay.
And Curt, what are you thinking?
Oh, I'm science division.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Almost done.
You know what? Security. What's
Okay.
the other trait?
Excellent. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is determine your ranks. For Jonathan, that is easy. Your rank is captain. As a result, you start each session with 5 drama points, which help you fuel your abilities, or you can use them yourself depending on the situation. It's fine either way. For the other 2 of you, there are 2 options. You can either start out as lieutenant junior grade, which starts you off each session with 1 drama point. One drama. I never know where the camera is. 1 drama point. There we go. Or if you like, you may bust yourself down a rank and start as ensign. Ensign gives you no drama points, but you will get an extra trait for your character. So you're lower rank, but you have more. You have something to prove. So you've got more abilities. Whichever one of those 2 things you like is entirely up to you.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go lieutenant.
Okay.
go lieutenant.
Okay, excellent. All right, so the next thing, and you can pick from this list that is up here. These are the sample traits for characters, positive and negative. Again, if you have a trait in mind that isn't on this list, you can just write it down. Oh, actually, hold on. Let me back up a second. Before you do that, everybody also gets the trait Academy training, which is all of the stuff you learn at the Academy, from how sensors work to how to program the replicator to throwing a double-handed punch at somebody, whatever. And that's one of the catch-all traits that you can usually use in any situation to get a little bit of an oomph. In addition to that, you may pick 5 traits of any type, of any description for your character, and some examples are on the list in front of you. And once you have done that, character creation is complete. And there's but one more thing to do before we may start the adventure.
So, is there a balance of positive and negative traits you need to take on?
No, you can go all positive. You can go a balance of both. Most people either go all positive with 1 or 2 negatives, and that's fine. The point in this game is that you are all, hyper confident, fleet competent, also confident fleet officers. So it stands to reason that you know what you're doing.
What is preserve all life?
Preserve all life basically means this species is hurting this other species, and someone says, well, let's shoot them, and you're like, no, wait, we can't do that. Because I believe in all life.
All life matters. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Life finds a way.
The is the mandatory bit in that quote. If you miss
Yes.
that, it's not the quote.
It's not the same.
Character.
It should be
often
mandatory for that trait to have to do the whole bit. Just all life matters, actually.
I'll see if I can fit it in the chart.
Yeah, I'm set.
Me too.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing this because, actually, no, I will share the next thing. Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Engage.
So the very last thing that you're going to do is you are going to make NPC shipmates for your ship. So basically what happens is each of you gets to make an NPC. So most of the NPCs on your ship are faceless and nameless and, can go flying out of airlocks, and we don't worry about them too much. But these are special. These have names and a little bit of personality, and you can use them to round out your crew if you like, so that you have somebody who is in engineering or in social sciences if you want, or it's just, a fun person that you want to play off of. So what you do is you pick their name, you pick their species, their occupation. So my name is Ensign Tim and I'm Morden. I work in science. And then you give them one unique trait, and it can be anything. For instance, I've had the very pragmatic, extremely competent. That's always a good one to have. And I've had more silly ones like always late, or, very gung ho. And that was in the same game. So there was one NPC crew member that was always early and one that would show up very late. And they had lots of fun with that. So starting with Jonathan.
Okay, so we've got science and we've got medical. So you know what? I'm gonna bring someone from another game in because everyone loves Lieutenant Sewell.
I had a feeling. Okay.
And
so Lieutenant Sewell is Iridian.
Yep.
And he is engineering.
Engineering. And unique trait is the fix-it person.
Okay. Curt.
So we are going to go with Lieutenant. We'll come back to the name.
Sure.
Gonna be a Krakenoid,
Okay.
and he's going to be at helm.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with weapons training.
Okie doke. And Dash.
I'm going to have Lieutenant Monica in social science, also a Krakenoid. And her unique trait is inspiring speeches, specifically like bard type thing, fills you with
Excellent.
inspiration.
Okay.
Sorry, Dash, one more time just so I can write it down.
Lieutenant Monica, she's in social sciences, Krakenoid, and the unique trait is inspiring speeches.
Inspiring speeches. Wait a second. Where are they located?
They're on the ship sheet.
No.
Oh, they're Lieutenant Monica. She's in social science.
Social.
Okay. My mistake.
Right. And by the way, I named mine now. The Krakenoid is Lieutenant Gurg Blorth.
I love that.
Blorg?
Gurg Blorth.
Blorth. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Clearly, Gurg Blorth's parents were a little more traditionalist than Monica's were.
No question.
Yes. All right. And last thing, I need the names of your characters.
So I'm Captain Gurar.
Okay.
Lieutenant Barrett. J. Barrett.
Okay. Very, very classic fleet name. I like it.
Lieutenant Krill.
Krill. Okay. All right. So that's the setup. That's everything. And before we wend on our merry way, I'm going to show you this next. I think this is this way. Okay, yes. So this is the drama point chart. There's two sections. The red is how you gain drama points. Some of them will not be coming up at this because it's a standalone game. The top one is how much you need to spend and what you can spend them on. So hopefully this list should be fairly self-explanatory, but if not, I can run you through the list and let you know what's going on. But other than that, we can begin the adventure if you like. All right, so let's do a classic thing that actually has been a classic because Jonathan suggested it at a playtest a long time ago. So Lieutenant, how many lieutenants? So many lieutenants. Lieutenant Krill, you are in the elevator on the way to the bridge when the elevator stops on a floor and Captain Gurar gets on.
Lieutenant.
Captain.
So, are you going to be attending Lieutenant Monica's, what was she doing again? Theater production? It's a weird human thing. I've never quite understood it.
I do plan on attending that. Were you planning to go?
Well, as captain, I must. I don't understand Lieutenant Monica's interest in learning all the ins and out of human culture, but you know, I can't. I'm not going to discourage her from it, and as captain, I really should be there.
It's good to see that you're supporting her interest in such things and, entertaining the ideas of the ship.
The elevator stops and Lieutenant Barrett gets on.
Captain?
Lieutenant, we were just discussing Lieutenant Monica's theater production. As a human, maybe you could provide us some insight of what's expected behavior.
Well, Captain, human comedy is an interesting concept. Very often you will find that there is a surprising turn of event that is intended to elicit a laugh. Lieutenant Monica is doing stand-up, sir.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a one-person performance.
I can get behind that. Yeah.
Should I have brought a gift?
Oh, I don't think that's necessary. No.
You reach the bridge. Everybody gains a drama point from that delightful introductory scene. As you approach,
Keeping my captain ones in blue and my personal ones in green.
okay, perfect. Color-coded drama points. I love it. As you are on the bridge, you can see that Lieutenant Gergblorth stands up from Gergblorth. What is Gergblorth's pronouns?
Curt, you meet Gergblorth.
He's a very traditionalist, so I'm going to say Therm.
Thurn. Okay.
Therm.
Therm stands up and says, "Captain, we have received a priority 1 message from Fleet."
On screen, Lieutenant.
All right, doodly dood, and it is. You see the prim and proper face of Admiral Wainwright, who is an African American human from Earth, and he says, "This is a pre-recorded message to all of the ships in the sector. This is Admiral Wainwright. We are receiving an automated distress call from the newly settled Alliance colony world Limnos 5. Any ship in the sector, could you please do a flyby of the planet and make sure that the colony is all right, rendering whatever aid will be necessary." Wainwright out. Boop.
All right. Just check. There's no other ships in the area.
You are
Sir.
the closest.
We are the closest.
And you do have your fancy schmancy temporal drive.
We do.
Would you like some details on the planet, sir?
Yes, Lieutenant Barrett, please fire off.
All right.
So I'm checking the library computers.
All right. So you're going to need to make a roll.
Roger.
All right. So you get 1 die for free because you're a person doing a thing, and then
I
build
get
your
sciences.
Yeah.
And hold on.
Oh.
Academy training. And you know what? Your captain asked you to do it. Another die.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't sell yourself short.
Don't sell yourself short. Get
I
them
can
dice.
tell you anything you want about this planet, Captain. I've rolled 3 successes.
That's impressive. With but a few keystrokes, Lieutenant Barrett pulls up the information on Limnos 5. It is a planet in the Limnos system. It was originally Limnos 4 until a cataclysm several thousand years ago blew it out of its present orbit into a new elliptical but stable orbit around the sun. And there is a asteroid belt where it used to orbit that might have once been its moon or moons. As a result, the planet went through a very long period of geological instability and dangerous weather and was inimical to life. but recently it has calmed down more. And since it is uninhabited, the Alliance sent a colony group there to set up terraforming and all manner of stuff so that they could live on the planet and study it to see what they could learn about its interesting, geothermal cycle. Words.
As
Okay.
such, it has a habitable atmosphere, Captain.
It does
Excellent.
indeed.
All right. I guess Lieutenant Gerglorth, let's set a course, and as we're supposed to be using it, let's set up the temporal drive, shall we?
Aye, sir. Doot, 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 doot.
Captain, when would you like to arrive?
Well, we should try to. I mean, let's say 20 minutes from now.
Initiating temporal fold sequence, Captain. Mark. The drive activates and works flawlessly, and 20 minutes later, you are in a stable orbit around Limnos 5. Thanks to Lieutenant Barrett's excellent dive into the computer archives, you know where the colony is and where the terraforming machines are and all that stuff. So it is not long before you are in a geosynchronous orbit above them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are we getting any scans, anything from them on the anything that we're seeing that we can see from our current vantage point?
You would have to, who would like to do a scan, and how would you like to scan the planet?
Actually, that's even better. Let's do it this way specifically. Lieutenant Krill, can you search for life signs? And Lieutenant Barrett, can you just see if there's anything you're noticing about the planet itself that's different from what we know?
Aye, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Curt, is that your periscope scanner that you're using?
This is a it's the Spock thing, right?
Right. Awesome. Yay! Drama point.
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, you get a free die because you're a person doing a thing. You get a die because the captain is giving you an order. You also will get academy training and any other traits that you think apply to this particular thing.
I gave my character technical brilliance, so
That'll work.
can I get a wordplay pun? Can I get a wordplay die for having read people on here? Does that give me points for scanning?
It's a pun, so I'll allow it.
Yes.
And let me know how many successes you got.
I have one success at the sensors here,
Okay.
and I'm doing both a broad and narrow sweep.
All right.
Okay.
So
So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to spend drama point so that Curt can re-roll the die.
okay. Still one success.
Wasn't super dramatic.
That's okay.
I have 5 successes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Lieutenant Barrett, you gain a drama point. You are having a lot of trouble picking up much of anything due to interference from the terraforming equipment. They put out a pretty high powered signal that is messing with your scans. But Lieutenant Krill, you discover that maybe 10 or so kilometers away from the colony site, it looks like there's some kind of an alkali flats with a lot of underwater geothermal activity, lots of very hot pools that are very acidic and whatever. You are getting a faint life sign that appears human.
I cannot confirm that, Captain. I can't get through.
We're finding human life signs in the acid flats. Do we know anything about this landscape at all? Is there any reason that humans would be able to be in such an acidic environment?
Well, so since Lieutenant Barrett did so well on their previous role, I will say that you have quite a lot of geological survey maps of the immediate area around the colony. And you do know that there are a good number of terrestrial scientists and geologists who are in the colony who are studying the planet. So it is possible that someone is out there doing research, even though it is a fairly dangerous place for a human to be. But you also notice that there are no other life signs from the colony, which causes you some concern.
So there's just the 10 in the one spot and the one in the other? Or is it just the one? Sorry. The total life signs, there's just the one life sign?
Yes,
or...
there is one human life sign from this sort of inhospitable, highly geologically active area.
And you said faint life sign, right?
Yes.
Right. So I'm going to say, Lieutenant Krill, Lieutenant Barrett, take Lieutenant Sewell and Lieutenant Monica down, gear up, and see what we can do to save that person and find out what happened down there.
Captain,
Okay.
perhaps we should try to establish communications first?
If there's only one person and you can't get through, I'd rather send someone down.
Yeah.
Aye, sir.
That would be my opinion as medical as well, since they appear to be not in the best situation.
Okay. So this is just quickly, everybody gets the following equipment automatically. So you get your uniform, you get a razor, which is a shortening of ray laser, which is your stun or kill weapon. You get a data pad and you get a communicator. Medical also gets a medical kit, and science gets a portable sensor array. In addition, since this environment is pretty hostile, they're sending you down in pressurized environment suits so that you don't get sick or get burned or whatever. So you were all suited up and you join Lieutenant Sewell. Hey. And Lieutenant Monica, I'm very pleased to be here and to go on this mission with you, fellow lieutenants. And
that stand-up's going to be a riot.
Chief O'Malley looks up from his spot behind the transporter console and says, well, ready when you are. And you teleport down to the planet's surface. Boop, boop. You arrive on the shore of a massive boiling lake. It is probably a kilometer or more across. There seems to be these irregular rock formations that are rising out of it on somewhat regular intervals that almost look like standing stones. And one of the reasons why you think they might be standing stones is a couple of 100 meters from shore, you see what looks like a human woman, unprotected, wearing what looks like a weighted vest and holding across her shoulder like a bar with weights on either end, very slowly and shakily trying to measure the distance to jump from the pillar that she is on to the next adjacent one.
I don't want to yell. It seems ill-advised. I'd like to figure out what she's doing and if she should be doing that.
What's the distance?
She's a couple 100 meters out from shore.
And this is a lava lake?
No, very hot water, like a hot springs lake.
Does she want to be doing this? Do we have any way of figuring that out?
You would say that looking at how terrified she is and how shakily she is contemplating the jump to the next stone, probably not.
Okay. All right, so...
Breed people to the rescue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will give
Yeah.
that to you.
I'm scanning the water. I want to know how hot it is should she fall.
Okay. It is just about boiling in places. And there is quite a high concentration of minerals and gases. And also the pH of the water is fairly low.
But our environment suits would protect us.
Yes.
Let's wait out.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Sewell says, yeah, the suit's tolerances should be able to protect us while we go out there. And Lieutenant Monica says, indeed, we must strive to protect and rescue this person. And she goes wading into the toxic lake. The rest of you following. The lake is surprisingly shallow. At most, it only comes up to your waist. You can read the readouts on your suit armband about how dangerous this water is, but you're feeling okay. When you get halfway out to the woman's position, she happens to turn and sees you, and her look of like despair and horror becomes one of relief. And she says, oh, thank goodness you got the signal. Please help me. He's making me do this.
How can we assist?
He wants me to, he says he'll let me go. He'll let the others go if I can cross this lake, but I can't do it. It's going to kill me. You have to help me. Please just get me to shore.
Very good. So we go to her position and we try to have her climb down to us.
Okay.
Can she drop the weighted things that she's carrying? Can we ask her to do that?
I assume she needs those.
She looks at them very tentatively and says, well, yes. And she lets it go with a thud. The platform is only a couple of centimeters, where the rock platform is up from the water, so she's not very far above you.
Oh, okay.
And she's still got the weighted vest on, which she starts to take off, and it also hits the platform with a thud.
Okay.
She says, he's so cruel. He's taken everyone else.
All right. So if we can get her to come on down, we can carry her across. So long, if she gets up on our shoulder. So I can support her up on my shoulders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a roll.
Let's see. Honorable Academy training.
And you get another die because you're a person doing a thing.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
So that's one success then.
Okay. She tries to get herself on your shoulders, but you realize that your footing is way too unsteady. And you basically just stop, wait, and she steps back. Gain a drama point.
I could try to fireman carry her.
Correct. So we'll do it as a team.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's how that works. Whoever takes the lead gets a free die. Then you contribute any traits that you think would apply to the role, even if they're duplicates. So you get both your uses of academy training. Both your uses, that's 2. And you basically make a big pile of dice and then you roll them.
Okay, you can throw on my honorable and my academy training.
Okay, so that's 3. And then Dash, what traits are you going to add?
I have good in a crisis. And I have surgeon, which I think means that doing something steadily and with precision would be something I could do.
Okay, interesting. I'll allow it. You may also have a benefit from some of your Morden traits. I think.
What would the fragility of life? What does that trait?
You try not to destroy or damage things because it makes you sad. And you have great strength.
Yeah, great strength, the fragility of life. Yeah.
All right. So add
academy
those. Yes. Yes. So add those all together and find out how many dice that is and roll it.
So how many successes?
All right, that is 3 successes for me.
Okay. So between Lieutenant Barrett and Lieutenant Krill, you managed to hoist the woman up so that she will not touch the terrible, terrible waters of this lake below you. And you bring her as quickly and as carefully as you can to shore and set her down. She is extremely grateful. While this is going on, once Lieutenant Monica reaches the shore, she calls up to the bridge, "Captain, this is Lieutenant Monica.
Lieutenant, what's going on down there?
We have found one of the colonists, sir. She is injured and was apparently forced by an unknown party to cross a very dangerous boiling lake for some sort of game, I think."
What did he make you cross over for? Can I ask her that?
Wait. What is this he? Okay, folks. I think the mission here right now. Keep your eyes peeled. Find out whoever this mysterious he is that this colonist keeps talking about, and then try to save the colonists.
Yes, of course, sir.
Affirmative.
So the woman that you have rescued introduces herself as Simone Lee. She says, "I'm a hydrobotanist with the colony, and I'm the last one left. He took all the others. He took them to the caves underneath the colony, and he's got them trapped there. And he said he might consider releasing them if I would perform for him. And he said, put on all these weights and take this other weight and go across that lake. And if you survive, I might let the rest of them go."
Who's he?
His name is Balthior. I don't know much about him. I think he lives here, even though he didn't show up on any of our scans before.
When did
Is he
when did
is he
he-
indigenous or?
I don't know.
When did he appear? When did he start interacting with you? Did this all happen today?
No, it was in the last few days. One of the survey teams went out and we found an advanced technological complex in the caves over, and she points sort of in a northeasterly direction. She says, and then people started to go missing, and then we realized that they might be trapped down there, and we went down there, and they were all abducted, and I was the only one left. And then he made this deal. He said, "You'll perform for me, and maybe I will let the others go, but you have to survive it. You have to be entertaining." And then a voice from behind you says, "And you were not entertaining. I am very disappointed."
And what do we see when we turn and look?
You turn around, and standing before you is a 2-meter tall, extremely muscular being covered in feathers with a very prominent hawk-like nose and unblinking golden eyes.
Scanning.
Give me a scanning roll.
Two.
Okay. You surreptitiously start scanning him. He says, "I told you that you had to succeed on your own." And then he lets out a laugh. "But it looks as though more people have come to entertain me. Those of you here," and the figure looks up, "and those of you on the vehicle above. Excellent. This will make much sport for Balthior." Lieutenant Barrett, you do a scan. You do not get any readings from this being at all.
Curious.
But you know everything's in order, and you know you use the scanner properly, so
A projection, perhaps.
possibly. She's Simone says, "Oh, please no, not again." And he says, no, I am done with you, woman. You will come below with me, and you will wait with the others. Now I will engage in a little escapade with our new friends here."
And do I assume that she somehow vanishes?
No, she's still there, just like hugging herself and trembling.
Oh, okay.
And he says, "So, newcomers, will you entertain me, or will you allow all of these other people to perish?"
What makes you think that we're going to do either?
He laughs again and he says, "I have been here a long time, and I know that one of the weaknesses of sapient beings is your desire to help one another, that you cannot bear to see one another in suffering. And so you will perform for me, won't you?" And he snaps his fingers, and a horrible, like, aura of fire appears around Simone, and that's when she screams and vanishes. He says, "She is alive for now, but she will not be for long. Take up her weights. Make her way to the other shore. If you survive, I shall return her to you."
And I did have an actual scan on her previously, so she was really here.
Yes, she is, as far as you know, a perfectly typical human being. Lieutenant Monica stands up and says, "How dare you? We are free people from the Alliance. You cannot restrict our freedom of movement or our agency with your..." And he says, "Tedious." And he snaps his fingers, and Lieutenant Monica also vanishes. He says, "Is there anyone else who would dare refuse me?"
I don't think we fully understand your intentions.
"Very well, then. I will show you." He snaps his fingers. There's a blinding flash, and you're in another place. Meanwhile, on the ship, Lieutenant Gergblorth turns to you, Captain Gerard, and says, "Sir, I'm afraid I have lost contact with the landing party. They were on our scans, and now they have just disappeared."
Well, keep scanning. We have to find them.
He says, I am working on it. Meanwhile, the rest of you appear with Lieutenant Sewell, hey, in a very large maze-like cavern, and the walls appear to be lined with these tall cylinders, about, say, 3 meters tall, with lots of technological bits and computery readouts at the base. You can see that there are glass coverings on the front of them, and inside each is a cryogenically frozen individual of the various species, and the one that you are standing next to happens to contain the recently frozen body of Lieutenant Monica. The figure appears before you again, and he says, "Do you see now? This is at stake. I have taken your colonists and made them part of my collection, and sometimes I defrost them and have them caper and jape for my amusement. I know how you hate to see them imprisoned, so if you do a good job of entertaining me, then perhaps I could be convinced to let one or two of them go."
And what assurances do we have?
"Assurances? I give you my word of honor."
An
We have-
honorable being would have simply asked rather than enforce such compliance.
"Do you refuse me?"
No, I seek to understand you.
He says, "I have been here a very long time, and the passage of time is tedious to me. You will provide me with entertainment, and then I will let some of your people go."
What do you find entertaining? Surely a being of your years needs more than a simple dance to satisfy whatever you really crave. What is it that you really crave?
He seems bewildered by the question. He steps back, hand to feathered chin, and says, I wish to see you strive. I wish to see you struggle, I think. To persevere against all of the horrors of this dead planet. And if you do, I will release the others. But if you do not, you will perish and they will remain within my keeping.
Going to do a little read people here and a little tactics.
Okay,
And
while you're
we'll-
doing that, Dash, is there anything you would like to do now that you're down here?
I'd like to. I'd like to be checking out the. Them talking is great. I'd like to use that time to kind of ignore what is being said to us because I'm sure I'll be filled in later. I want to look at the cryogenic freezing devices. My character has technical brilliance, and I want to see if there's anything that I see about it. I want to see what's keeping them there, how they're being frozen. Like, do I know anything about this?
Okay, so yeah, you build a die pool, use technical brilliance. I'd also allow you to use medical and academy training if you like,
Okay.
and then
Mhm.
just get 2 successes and tell me what you see.
Yep. All right. Well, that is 3 successes.
Okay. While the being is talking to Lieutenant Barrett, you move over to the cryogenic pod that is holding Lieutenant Monica. And you can see that it obviously works very quickly because she was, mobile and unfrozen just a little bit ago. But she seems to be in deep freeze right now. This is a cryogenics pod of unusual design, and you can tell from the machinery that this system has been in place for many hundreds of years. There's like a patina of rust on it, and it looks like it's been multiple times repaired. You also notice that there are pods past Lieutenant Monica's that are all empty, as if they are awaiting additional occupants. Is there anything specific you would like to know?
Are all of the pods about the same age, about the same tech, or is it a hodgepodge?
It is not a hodgepodge. It looks like they are all part of a unified system.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back on the ship, Lieutenant Gergler says, Captain, I believe I have been able to pick up the transponder signals from the away team. They are apparently in some kind of subsurface cavern near to the colony site. What would you like me to do, sir?
Okay, are we detecting anything else?
Yes, I am detecting strange power fluctuations, although they may be from the terraforming devices set up by the colonists, sir.
Can we get our people out of there?
I will make the attempt to do so, sir. One moment, please. Doot, 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 doot. So the Lieutenant Barrett, the being turns to you and says, have I answered all of your tedious questions? Will you perform for me, or will you let these people sleep 1,000 years?
I will attempt to entertain you with a story.
Very well.
On my world, there is a story about one who find there's a whole culture who's starving and they want to be fed, but they find that if someone can teach them how to gain sustenance, they no longer have to just wait for sustenance to come. I propose, sir, that entertainment, watching others struggle, is far less entertaining than feeling that feeling for yourself.
He looks around. He says, Perhaps, but I do not. And then all of a sudden you were teleported off the planet. A moment later, you, Lieutenant Sewell, and Lieutenant Krill are back in the teleport pod. Captain, Chief O'Malley calls up from teleport room 3 and says, Captain, I have them there. Well, where's Lieutenant Monica?
Lieutenant Monica has been cryogenically frozen and is in the possession of one of the locals, not of the colonists.
All right, tell them to meet me in the conference room.
Okay, conference time. Everybody gets a drama point. And you all hustle on over to the conference room and sit down where you talk about your problems.
All right, everyone. What happened down there? Why are we down a crew?
Sir, we attempted a rescue of a human female, a botanist from the colony, who said that 10 of her cohorts were imprisoned and could be released if they performed entertainment for someone named Balfian. This is almost a bird-like, heavily muscled creature who, when he first appeared to us, did not read on the scans. He then transported the entire landing party, including Lieutenant Monica, just before we arrived, into one of these cryogenic stasis tubes where, assumedly, all the rest of the colonists are. He wants to be entertained, and I believe is capturing individuals for his ongoing entertainment. He certainly has some demonstrably unknowable power to transport and possibly create matter.
Okay. Lieutenant Krill, what was your perspective?
When we had been transported, we were brought to a room where there was a system of cryogenic pods where the people had been staying, which is what had happened to Lieutenant Monica. I took a closer look at some of these pods, and they appeared to be quite old, several of them having undergone numerous repairs and not in the world's cleanest condition. I didn't seem to know much about it other than that. I didn't recognize much of the technology.
Okay. Lieutenant Sewell, your thoughts?
Well, I will say that Lieutenant Krill is right. It did seem like it was a really big system. There's a power plant for it somewhere under there. I don't know where it is, but there's got to be a way that we can maybe access it and turn it off and like free those people, I think. Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Suggestions?
We'll need to find a way to go and help people without him knowing that we're there. I believe that if he knows that we're there, he may be able to interfere and force someone to perform. He clearly has great powers that we don't have much of a grasp on yet.
And escaping his notice seems unlikely. He appeared to us without our knowing we were being observed, and teleported us from wherever it is. And quite honestly, I am not even convinced what we saw was its true form.
Okay, so I think some steps. Basically, Lieutenant Barrett, see if you can find anything on the history, anything we missed on this Balfour person. Lieutenant Sewell, I want you to start looking for any energy signatures that could be a power supply. We need to find where it is, and we need to disable it.
Okay.
Lieutenant Krill, I need you to think of a way to quickly unfreeze those people so they don't get hurt.
Affirmative, Captain.
I'm gonna go to engineering and do some scans. All right. So Lieutenant Sewell goes off to do Lieutenant Sewell stuff. Captain Garrar, what would you like to do?
I'd like to inform headquarters of what's going on.
All right. You send a emergency communique to Space Fleet headquarters, and they are apprised of the situation and ask you to keep sending them regular reports.
Yep.
Let's see, Lieutenant Barrett, what are you doing?
So I'm first using the library computer to search both the name Balfiant as well as describe the type of being that appeared to us and see if I can cross-reference an actual species.
Okay. Give me one of those beautiful dice rolls.
Remember +1 because we had a conference about it.
The
One.
captain said so.
2, sciences, academy training. Okay. Well, that's 2.
Okay. So you do a cross-reference search throughout your ship's computer, and you find out that you don't get a hit on the name Balthior, but you do get a hit on Balthior's physiology. It turns out that on another planetary system, historically, their space explorers encountered a species of people called the Damions, who were described as intelligent, bipedal, bird-like people, although it was believed that they had gone extinct in the years since contact was first made with them.
I'd like to cross-reference known technologies or mental powers.
With the of the Damions?
Correct.
Okay. It appears based on your findings, which are a little sketchy because they're from another alien species and several hundred years old, that the Damions were of relatively high technology, no known psychic sensitivity. They had a complicated industrial society, but they did not have hyperwarp capability and were only just beginning to explore their own solar system when they went abruptly extinct.
Okay. Can I get a visual?
Yeah, there is, well, you cannot, there's not like a photograph, but there are drawings. And if you took this drawing and heavily idealized it to the point of making it look super buff and making the feathers shinier and making the beak more prominent, yeah, it's close enough.
So what I saw was more of an idealized vision of this race.
Possibly, yes.
Understood.
Lieutenant Krill, tell me what you are doing.
So I'd like to do some research on and I'd like to use the medical computer to research both the cryogenic pods, see if I can figure out how they work, get just a documented user manual for this, and what kind of medical attention the people may need when they are released from the cryogenic pods.
Okay, that's fine. Put your dice pool together and give me a roll.
Okay, so that is 3 successes.
Okay. So this blah, 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 cryogenic technology is very old and not particularly advanced by Fleet or Alliance standards. You suspect that you could safely and easily revive someone from cryostasis in a matter of minutes, provided that you were there to give medical attention and make sure that they came out of cryosleep with not too rapidly, but like, and in a controlled way so that they wake up and don't like overheat or whatever. You also think that if you could gain access to the system, you might be able to easily program in something that will safely wake up everyone in all of the pods, or at least everyone in a very large portion of the pods. So all that is required is getting access to the system somehow.
Okay.
And did you have any other specific questions about that?
Do I have any knowledge, or do I find anything in my research about how the system would work?
The system seems to be relatively primitive by fleet standards. It involves using basically cryogenic gases, which have to be pumped into each pod individually from some storage system below. And it seems as though the deep freeze is almost instantaneous, and judging by your research, probably rather painful initially, because it's like, I'm going from normal temperature to completely frozen in several seconds. So there is likely a reservoir of this cryogenic gas somewhere in that complex.
Okay. That's
Cap-
all I've got for that.
Okay. Captain, is it Gerard or?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you, refresh my memory, what did you ask Lieutenant Sewell?
Looking for any type of power source.
Okay. Lieutenant Sewell comes back. Captain,
Yes, Lieutenant.
I have been working with Lieutenant Gergblorth to do a scan of the planet. It appears that there are several subterranean power systems that I don't think were placed there by the colonists. I have also noticed, although this took some doing because, I had to separate the interference from the terraforming machines out. That was involved. You probably don't want to hear about that.
That's right, Lieutenant Soul.
Very good.
Point.
Let me quickly sum up then. There appears to be mobile technological signatures roaming around the planet's surface. It seems like there is a concentration of them on the lake that we had visited when we teleported down, but also in and around the colony itself.
Okay. All right. So I think time to, all right. Basically call everyone back together.
Okay.
All right. So I think, folks, we Lieutenant Sewell's found some power sources.
Mhm.
And I get the update from everybody. It's not like
Yeah.
we need to go over it again.
Yeah, it's all shared between you.
Yeah.
You're a team. Gosh
Right.
darn it.
So I think team, we need to send you back down, but send you to the mobile power sources.
Mhm.
Captain, I have a question.
Yes.
Did you, in fact, get a communication from the being on the surface?
No.
When we were being addressed?
We got nothing. What happens is you folks disappeared. It took us a while to find you on the scanners, and then when we found you and you were not where we expected you to be, we teleported you out of there.
Sir, what I'm actually referring to is at one point, the being on the surface referred to the ship and its crew and addressed them directly. Did you hear that on the intercraft?
Nope.
Lieutenant Gergblorth says, "We receive no transmissions from the planet's surface other than your own. Captain, if I may speak freely,
Go ahead, Lieutenant Gergblorth.
I feel that we should pinpoint those technological signatures and blast them apart from orbit, sir. It seems the safest way."
True, but safest for us isn't necessarily safest for the people there. I'd like to go down to get an idea of what's happening, and maybe, maybe our team can find a way to disable it, or if what the information that Lieutenant Barrett came up, that this may be not quite the same being that we're seeing versus the being that's projecting this, right? That maybe there's something else here to figure out.
Understood, sir.
All right, so I think, all right, everyone, let's head back down. Be extra safe and careful, and see what's going on with these power sources.
All right. Lieutenant Sewell says, I've sent duplicates of the transmission signature to all of your data pads, so you should be able to locate them relatively easily. Captain, will you be joining us?
I think I need to on this one.
Okay. Lieutenant O'Malley's like, sir! Good afternoon, sir.
Take us down, Mr. O'Malley.
Sir, yes, sir. All right, there is a flicker of energy from the teleportation pods, and you appear right at the fringes of the colony. And with all of your advanced prep work, it takes you no time at all to hone in on one of these transmission signals that is moving about. You get the idea to come at it from different angles, and it is not long before you are standing near a split rail fence that marks a boundary of one of the colony's gardens, or, you know, food resources. And you can see that there's stacked on a hay bale, there is some kind of lizard that may be native to the planet's surface. And the lizard goes from sunning itself on the hay bale to alert and staring at you in a matter of microseconds.
Scanning and verifying whether it is in fact a life form or a tech.
Give me a scanning roll.
Three successes.
It is a machine.
Confirmed, sir.
Let's catch it.
Okay. As if it understood you, it immediately turns and starts scurrying away through the split rail fence across the field of, I guess it's wheat that's growing.
Mhm.
What would you like to do to capture this thing?
I
Individually or collectively?
I think collectively we're going to try to capture this thing.
Okay.
And we've got our razor set to stun.
Mhm.
We don't need to destroy it, just need to disable it.
Sure, yes.
And let's do this. So I inspire the troops, like, everyone fan out, try to get it, you know, we go through, try to angle it back towards each other. Let's do standard hunting tactics.
Triangulation.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to use, I'm going to lead this. So I have enhanced senses, fight tooth and claw, academy and training, weapons training. So these are the 4 dice that I have. So what dice is everyone else going to give me? Oh, and sorry,
Academy
and my
training.
razor. Sorry.
Academy training.
Okay.
Tactics.
Oh no.
That's fine.
Sciences.
2 dice is good.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Krill.
I'm gonna go academy training.
Okay.
And good in a crisis.
There you go.
Hey, you know what? You also have a razor.
Oh, yep.
That's true.
So I have 1 extra dice there for Lieutenant Barrett. Okay, so I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 dice.
All right. Well, let's see how you do against this critter.
I have 3 successes.
All right.
3 out of that?
Wow.
Yep.
All right. Well, I only got 2, so that's a success. So there is possibly a Benny Hill style montage of the group of you, yes, going through the split rail fence and across the field and up a hill and around a building and whatever. And Lieutenant Sewell finally catches up to you, only to see you turning around and running in the other direction. And eventually, with a combination of skill, luck, and a little bit of razor fire, you manage to stun this creature into unconsciousness. It flops over in the tall grass.
All right.
Wait for me.
So we'll get the lizard.
Okay.
And I'll hand it. I'll say, Barrett, Sewell, if it's a machine, go take it apart. Let me know what it does.
Sir, I'd like to use our special AI systems to try to understand the network.
Permission granted.
Okay, that allows you to add that trait to your roll because you're using something from the ship. Hello, this is the Endeavor's AI. How you doing?
Pretty good, Endeavor. We've got a tech system which we assume is connected to a much broader AI system.
Oh, wow. That's
by
cool.
by firewalling yourself away from any invasion that could occur, we'd like to understand this network and what's at its heart and what's driving it.
All right. Bring me in for a scan, boys.
Well, I've got two.
That's enough.
Okay.
All right. You and Sewell kneel down and start doing the full scan. This thing is basically a robot. It is a very, very skillfully created and built robot that is covered with a basically inorganic sheath that looks like the skin and outward appearance of this lizard creature. You find that it has some kind of primitive atomic slug in it that allows it to run for, hundreds, if not thousands of years. And the AI on the computer says, "Oh, this thing's coding tastes like soap. Oh." But after the AI gets done complaining, you find out that it is indeed connected by some kind of wireless relay to some sort of central information gathering hub.
Okay. Do we have a direction on that?
Well, let's see. Let me just punch up some coordinates here. Coordinates here. Coordinates there. I would say that you can find the central processing hub approximately 17.2 kilometers southeast of your current location. I will update your data pads with that information. And then all of your data pads at once go ding. Update complete.
Thank you.
You guys are really swell.
Thank you, Endeavor. All right. Let's make our
Captain,
way. Mhm.
I think it is likely that the being that appeared to us that looked like a Damian species could in fact be another one of these automatons.
Mm.
Oh, says Lieutenant Sewell. Yeah, I didn't scan him for tech, so I didn't notice anything like that. I'm sure we'll run into him again, though.
Right.
Mm.
Let's keep going, and let's make it to these new coordinates. I'm sure we'll meet our friend along the way.
Okay. You progress across the open territory, and it very quickly, once you get past the boundary of the terraforming machines, becomes something pleasant like Southern Californian Earth to something hostile like Southern Californian desert. Some angled rocks in the background, the whole thing. It is not as inhospitable as the lake that some of you were at previously, but it's still getting warm and unpleasant, and the air smells kind of acrid, and there's definitely like lots of mineral deposits on the rocks here.
Mhm.
You also notice several animals scurrying away from you as you approach, and if you scan, pretty much all of them seem to be similar to the lizard that you stunned into unconsciousness or deactivation, more accurately.
That said, he knows we're coming.
It seems like that's possible, yes. Lieutenant Krill, you are looking around and you see a subtle difference between sort of a mound of rock and a narrow rocky spire that juts up from it. And a quick scan from your device reveals that the top part of the spire is not stone, but some kind of heavily rusted metal.
Okay. I'm point this out to the rest of the team.
Is it a composition that we're familiar with?
It seems to be some kind of steel alloy.
Can we weapon scan?
Yeah, you can give me a roll for that.
Okay, I'm gonna, and then academy training. That is 1 success.
Okay.
Take another reroll one of your non-successes. Don't forget you have your
2 success.
Okay. You do not detect anything that looks obviously like a weapon system anywhere in the vicinity. It's this metal spire that's coming up out of the ground and all of these robot critters. But you are fairly convinced that the spire is some kind of broadcasting antenna, probably.
okay. Lieutenant Sewell, if you can climb and let us know what's going on there.
Okay. Be right back. He sort of lumbers slowly over to the mountain, and then he climbs all the way up to the top, and then he looks around. And then he looks down. And he comes back over to you and says, well, this is it's an old type of broadcasting system, but it's definitely pumping out quite a lot of information on a high frequency band. It was unfortunately not high frequency compared to what we're used to, which is why we didn't initially pick it up on the scanners. But it's definitely sending out some kind of a signal.
Have you analyzed the signal?
It's some kind of old type radio wireless signal. It seems to be sending data packets out. I'm guessing based on what the Endeavor said and what we found so far, that this might be, the thing that tells the robot animals what to do and where to go.
Okay,
Maybe.
Here's a quick question. Can we jam this?
Oh. Yeah, probably.
All right. I'm going to need both Sewell and Barrett. Take a look at that. And Lieutenant Krill, I want to we'll talk about what the plan is for when we get there. I have some ideas about some stuff, but I want your opinion on what we're going to do for these cryogenically frozen people.
So what I think we should be doing here is we definitely want someone on the ground. In my research, I was finding that we may be able to control their unthawing from the main systems itself so that they wake up safely, but I'd still like to be on the ground just so that we can make sure that there's nothing that happens with that, what we're going through.
Perfect. All right.
Hey,
I have an idea about how we're going to get there.
Barrett.
Yep.
Are you ready to do this?
I sure am. I've got diagnostics, contemplative, academy training, sciences, and me all helping to figure this
Sewell
thing
with
out.
engineering.
Sewell with engineering and the fix-it person. And in addition, I should have mentioned this earlier, one of the things that you can use to help yourself is technobabble. So if you explain how you're going to hyperphase the whatever to invert the polarity of the whatever, you get an extra die. And if what you say sounds scientifically plausible, at least to an English major like yours truly, you get 2 dice instead. So if you have some technobabble, by all means, spout it now.
Oh, so we're going to spout some technobabble.
Yes.
I love that mechanic.
Thank you.
So the cryogenic pods are running on a system of tubes that dispense the cryogenic gases into the pods that cause people's internal systems to slowly freeze on a 3.5 minute timeline, specifically because this is the amount of time that it takes the gases to properly permeate the entire body when going through our own respiratory system, properly utilizing the body's own circulatory system to do less so that we don't have to functionally like focus the mechanics. When it is removed from the pod, that's where all the mechanical elements of this go. And that is when it'll actually do the work to warm them back up. On the same timeline, however, using all of the processing powers from the machines to sustain the life support systems of the people. We should be able to control it quite easily if we're getting in without any interference. My only concern would be someone stopping us from messing with it.
Excellent. Excellent. So, Curt, if you're still there, +2 to your roll.
Still calculating.
Oh, yes. Oh, by all means, calculate away. Lieutenant Sewell is impressed with your thoroughness. You're good to work with. Yup. Mm-hmm.
Is this a Windows 96 scanner?
All right.
Might be.
I think I've got it.
Okay.
Sewell, if we can modulate the N band to 37 gigahertz, I can ground and short the transmitter at the source. Or we can tap into the G7 band and reverse polarity. I think we can then tap in and access the core control module and actually understand the transmission source.
Lieutenant Sewell nods slowly and says, Lieutenant Barrett, that just might work. Add 2 dice to your pool. Dash, save those 2 bonus dice for your roll. Curt, give me a roll.
Holy crap, that's it? Okay, I got 3.
Okay, 3 is sufficient. What are you doing to this broadcast signal? Are you shielding it? Are you doing something else with it?
Right. So my second thought was actually, rather than short the whole system out, first see if I can reverse polarity and gain access to the main control mode.
Okay. You are able to basically follow the signal back to the source and get to the central computer that seems to be running this whole thing.
Okay.
Hacked into the mainframe.
Yes.
All right.
Elite hacksaw skills.
So at this point, with access, I'm first going to try to gain an understanding of what we're dealing with here.
Okay, give me a roll. While that's happening, Sewell says, Captain,
Yes, Lieutenant Sewell.
I'm detecting a buildup of energy from over there.
I was expecting that. Lieutenant Krill, follow me.
I've only
We
got
walk-
one die
Captain.
here.
What?
I've only got one die here on the trying to
One
deal with
success-
this network.
One success. Try reroll one of them.
And don't forget you can use your own drama points.
Right. Well, I got it. Thanks, Captain.
Nice.
And basically my last line is going to be, the 2 of you. It's up to you to find a way to shut down the system. Lieutenant Krill and I are going to go deal with the entity.
Sir, yes, sir.
I think I've got a map of the system.
Oh, that'll help. Excellent. Captain, we'll have this done in no time. Okay. All right. So you are getting into the system and getting the lay of the land. Meanwhile, the captain and Lieutenant Krill move over to where Lieutenant Sewell picked up the energy reading. No sooner do you arrive than with a clap of thunder, Balthior appears in all of his fury. He says, "What are you doing? How dare you? Stop or I will destroy you utterly."
How dare I? How dare you? You kidnap people because you want to see strife and struggling? Please. That's the mewlings of a kitten.
he looks grievously offended at your words and says, "What?"
And I bare my fangs as a cat.
Perfect. He says, "I am the last of my kind. I am the custodian of this world. You will not speak to me in such a manner." And lightning.
Custodian of this world, I look back and I wave my hand out and saying, "What a lovely job you've done."
You're just continuing to poke the bear.
Yep.
The bear is getting enraged.
Yep.
There is a distant clap of thunder, but you don't see any lightning in the sky. Lieutenant Krill, so you're watching the captain annoy this being of unfathomable power. What would you like to do?
I would like to sort of. I'd like to step in on. I don't want to overstep my authority with the captain, but I think maybe that poking the bear.
Exactly what I wanted to do.
Yep. Yep. So I'm gonna.
However, you will note I did not tell anyone what my plan was. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Just the captain. I wish I knew what the captain wanted me to do here. Can I basically roll like a perception check? Can I see if I see anything like behind Balthasar or yes, or if I can see any way that they might have just showed up? If there's anything that they forgot to cover their tracks on, or anything that's revealing in their anger. They're
Excellent.
pissed off. There's weaknesses.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Give me a roll.
Cool. So I have technical brilliance, and this is someone on machinery. I'm gonna use technical brilliance, read people, academy training. We'll call it medical, because I don't know what that skin is made of. And yeah, I think that's about all I can do here. So.
All right. Give me a roll. It's exciting.
All right. So that is 4 successes.
Okay. You leave the captain to staring down Balthior, and they're continuing to hurl insults. The captain coldly, Balthior much more hotly. You notice that there is no sign at all of how Balthior got here. Like, there's no footprints in the dust. It looks like that's not unusual to you with your level of technology. It's possible he just teleported here. But you also notice with your scan, while they're otherwise engaged, that several of the smaller creatures are moving closer to you and are in fact encircling you. And
me or all of us?
You, the captain, and Balthior. So there's a perimeter ring around all of you, and you get the sense that the critters are starting to up their power output and are beaming it into Balthior.
I'm gonna sort of cough at the captain, and I'm gonna. It's not like Balthior isn't all powerful, but I'm just gonna sort of Captain.
No, I look at you, like in mid tirade, right? Not my tirade, but Balthior's tirade. I'm not even looking.
You dare to insult me with your words!
Yeah, and my lack of attention. And I turn towards Lieutenant Krill.
And I'm just gonna sort of gesture at the lizards, be like.
And I look at Lieutenant Krill, and I kind of make the like pew pew gesture.
I'm gonna.
It's the tech. We know their technology. We know they're not living beings, right? So like, around like, and any you would dare insult me? Like, I'm not terrified of a bird that refuses to even attack. Like, what kind of aggressive like creature like are you claim to be, like pushing all the buttons, right? Like cat playing with a mouse, or in this case a bird.
Yes. Balthior says, "You wish me to display my full power? So be it." Meanwhile, back at the spire, so what do you want to do? I think we're in.
The concept of entertainment is based on observation and sensory input. If I can loop such input, it's going to create an endless supply of entertainment for this guy without having the need to destroy its own consciousness. It'll just be in stasis.
How are we going to get that much entertainment, though?
Oh,
This is the entertainment, and we're going to loop it. It's for this creature. He's going to be constantly in this battle forever. He's going to be super psyched.
That's messed up.
That's totally messed up.
Let's do it. Actually, no, what he says is, Lieutenant Barrett, you're a genius. Give me a roll, add 2 for your awful data loop.
Shit, 1.
Do you wish to spend drama points?
I'm going to spend 2 drama points.
Reroll 2 of them.
I got the second one.
Okay. You begin to program the loop. So he says, how dare I will show you my power. Lieutenant Krill, you notice that the critters are definitely cycling up very quickly. Do you wish to follow the captain's orders and make with the pew pew, or do you have another plan?
I'm gonna make with the pew pew. Yeah, I think the captain seems to have a plan here, and I'm gonna trust that. He didn't get to captain for nothing.
Okay, give me a attack roll. You get +1 die because the captain ordered you to do it.
I am muted, sorry. And I'm gonna do another die for academy training.
Don't forget your razor.
Good in a crisis,
Yes,
and
this is definitely becoming a crisis.
razor. Let's see. I think that's about it. But that is a fat 5 successes. So
Oh my goodness.
I.
That,
So I'm working.
so
I'm
I
working
rolled
with one, but
0
I'm just-
successes. So you did so well that this is what happens. Captain Gerard, you give the nod, and Lieutenant Krill pulls their razor and blasts away 2 of the critters around the perimeter.
Can I say the line?
You may, of course, say the line.
The line is like, you want to see my power? It's no, your power does not impress me. And I point, and I kind of like point, yeah, and then the pew pew happens.
Oh. A drama point.
You have the power of the gods at your fingertips.
Balthior lets out a roar, and he says, no. So Captain Gerard, you feel that you are being caught inside of an unstable teleportation beam. Put together a dice pool that allows you to resist such an action.
Okay. So here is the thing. Unstable teleport pool. I'm going to take Lieutenant Krill with me in it, because I know where we're going. If we're going towards the thing.
Yeah.
What I'm actually going to do though is I'm going to spend 3 plot points.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to
reality?
alter reality slightly. It's that I think he was trying to put us in the cryopods.
Yes.
And I think because it's unstable, instead we end up where we want to be, near, like at the cryopod station where the other crew was before.
Excellent. All right. You spend your drama points. They vanish into the ether. He says, I will show you my power. The pair of you go, wow, and you wink out. And you wink back in. You are standing in, it doesn't necessarily look like the same tunnel to you, Lieutenant Krill, but it's definitely a similar tunnel with similar pods. There are 2 pods that are open and ready to receive, but you are not in them. So meanwhile, Balthior seems satisfied that he has gotten rid of the 2 of you, and he turns to Lieutenants Sewell and Barrett, and he says, now you 2 will face my, and then he goes, what are you doing here? How dare you? So he started the whole scene
Are you
over
not
again.
entertained?
Drop a point. So you hear him go through the whole one-sided taunt speech with Captain Gerard, even though Captain Gerard is not there anymore. Sewell's like, I don't know, he's still terrifying.
Yeah, but he's safely terrified now.
Sound effects for the win. Yes. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to do now that you have trapped him in an entertainment loop?
Well, we still have access to the system. So potentially we could see if we can take a look at the cryopod control systems and cycle them down and open the doors.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what our plan is inside the thing too. We're gonna go try to find Lieutenant Monica and the colonists and get them out of there and safely, because I have the doctor with me, which was my plan all along to get
Excellent.
sent here with the doctor.
Very nice. Extremely good long game. I love it. To facilitate matters, Lieutenant Sewell, realizing that the captain and Lieutenant Krill are missing, opens up his communicator and says, Captain, Lieutenant
Yes,
Krill?
Lieutenants.
Oh,
Yes, Lieutenant
Not
Sewell.
dead.
I'm
We're
up
inside
here.
the caverns.
Oh, good. You're not frozen.
No, we're not.
I'm here with Lieutenant Barrett. We're going to try and bring the cryostasis pods offline.
Wait for us to get there first, and we'll tell you which ones, because we're gonna
Okay.
want to make sure we have Lieutenant Krill there to perform any necessary medical procedures.
Okay, I'll leave this channel open. And he puts
Right.
down
We
his
can't
communicator.
leave anything to risk with this primitive technology.
No, it's real bad. So the two of you who are in the underground chambers start moving, and this is a whole labyrinth of tunnels with all of these cryogenic pods. You very quickly find the original hallway that you were in, Lieutenant Krill, where Lieutenant Monica is frozen, and where also Simone, the hydrobiologist, has been either imprisoned or re-imprisoned. There's also a rather large hallway area of empty pods, but you also see several pods that contain some bird-like humanoids that are covered with a very, very thick layer of frost. And in the center of this entire cavern complex, which Lieutenant Barrett is guiding you through using his access to the system, which you think is actually right underneath the spire area, is a very, very large cryopod that does not have a glass top and has a lot more equipment all around it and seems to be wired up to the spire.
All right, Lieutenant Krill, you work with Lieutenant Sewell and Lieutenant Barrett to take this down. I'm going to go investigate the large pod in the middle. I have an idea. It's our friend.
Hi, Captain.
Okay. Meanwhile, on the planet's surface, how dare you speak to me in such a manner, cat? I will skin your fur from your bones. It's like the third time he said that. He must really be enjoying himself. Lieutenant Krill, this is Lieutenant Sewell. We're ready up here with the software if you're ready down there with the hardware.
Ready whenever you are, Lieutenant Sewell.
Okay, I guess we're gonna make it so. All right, so one of the players should be the point person for this role. Sewell will be contributing fix-it person and engineering.
I believe that's Lieutenant Krill.
Hey, all right. Cool. So that's 2 from Lieutenant Sewell.
Yep.
Okay, and then I'll do, academy training, medical, fragility of life, technical brilliance.
Yep.
Good in a crisis. Read people.
I'm not really gonna. I don't think it applies to this situation.
We don't think when they're waking up, we can't tell what kind of medical attention they need. Read people is the #1 skill in primary assessment.
All right, I'll give it to you. That's fine.
Which is why I picked it for the medical
Such
role.
a
specifically.
You have
Alright.
techno-babbled your way into using a skill.
Yes.
Great.
Very good,
Yes!
very good. And that's how
Alright,
that's done,
so-
people at home.
That's 8 right now.
Yes, you also get +1 die for free and +1 because the captain ordered you to. So that's 10 total, plus whatever
Awesome.
Lieutenant Barrett wants to give you.
All right. And Lieutenant Barrett.
Barrett's
Oh.
thinking of some technobabble.
Oh, speaking of Technobabble, do you remember those 2 dice that I gave you before when you went on your long cooler rant?
Mhm.
Add those in too, because
All
yes,
right, 12 die.
Yes,
I'm working with 1, so I have
definitely
to roll it
applies.
12 times, you guys. Just a warning.
It's all right. It's the climax. We're used to it. Dun dun dun.
I have a really good idea for the ending too.
Oh,
If this
excellent.
is going the way it's going to go, I have an idea.
I had an idea too, but I will listen to yours first. We're almost ready up here, Lieutenant.
All right. that is exactly 6 successes.
Okay, plus whatever Lieutenant Barrett's gonna give you.
All right, Lieutenant Barrett, have you the rolls?
Or the dice.
Standing by. Ready to transmit.
Okay. Are you contributing? What are you contributing to?
Oh, I see. I am contributing diagnostics, academy training, and sciences.
Okay. Dash, give me 3 more die rolls.
All right. And that is 1 success.
Okay, so for a total of 7.
Mhm.
Okay. The 3 of you work together flawlessly, babying the ancient system. And after a couple of false starts and tiny scares that are barely noticeable, you manage to basically set everything in this cavern complex to defrost. It's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes for everyone to be freed from cryostasis, and you suspect that when they come to, they're going to have a lot of questions. Meanwhile, Captain Garrar, while your crew is working flawlessly to revive the colonists and presumably the native population, you are standing in front of the giant cryopod.
Okay. I'm going to just, it's not really my thing, but I'm going to try to see if I can get some information, even if it's just like wipe the frost down to see who's in there.
Okay. That's easy enough to do. You don't even
Yeah.
need a roll for that. You basically go up there and with a furry paw, just scrape down the front. And you can see that unlike the rest of the cryopods, this one is not, it's, whoever's in here isn't frozen. This pod is completely filled with some kind of viscous, sort of bluish black liquid that's bubbling and roiling and churning as if whatever's inside is moving around a lot.
Or is really pissed off.
I mean, or that. It can be 2 things. How dare you!
All right. So I'm gonna wait till our stuff is mostly done, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm because clearly not in cryo, I'm gonna tap on the glass.
Okay.
I also have something I'm preparing.
Okay. What would you like to do?
So it occurs to me, if the Damians can be believed, that they may in fact be extinct.
Mhm.
Therefore, I'm going to access the data and archive the system without the higher logic function, so that we can preserve the history, culture, and cultural distinctiveness of the Damian species.
Excellent. Excellent. Give me a roll. +2 dice.
Lieutenant
Preserving
Barrett?
cultures.
I'm sure Lieutenant Monica would be proud.
Yes.
You got it, sir.
In her deep sleep, she says, yes, we should preserve the records of all sapient species.
I'm gonna speak for Monica here. Lieutenant Krill is proud.
Nice. Nice.
It's a good crew.
It is a good crew. It's a great crew.
Much like family.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we're still going to go to Lieutenant Monica's stand-up show.
Whether we want to or not.
Or
We
not.
are gonna go after that. Maybe we could leave her frozen for just a little bit longer.
No. Curt, did you roll?
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. I had 2 successes.
Okay.
I had a 5 and a 6.
You are easily able to open a channel to the Endeavor and just beam up all of the raw information from the computers into a protected file. So you are preserving everything in the system that is not the higher functions. You look around, those of you that are underground, and notice that most of the inhabitants of most of the tubes are almost thawed and seem to be waking up. The colonists with something like relief, Lieutenant Monica with something like high dudgeon, and the Damians with something like confusion.
Okay, and as that happens, I go
All right.
onto the glass.
A bird-like taloned hand smashes onto the glass from the other side and kind of drags itself down, clawing marks into the glass.
Lieutenant Krill, can you come here?
Yes, Captain. Walk over to the glass.
Can you explain to me what's going on here? Is there anything we can do for this one?
Well, it seems like this one is being preserved by the systems in place here. It seems like it's being physically preserved by the liquid that's in here. But I would wager a guess that these tubing systems that are running up through the source of the planet are something like life support. I assume that if we could find something other than what is powering this to power those life supports, then yes, we could. I think what we would need to do would be to find something more portable to keep it outside of this contraption here, but maybe with different technology that could be done. Something a little less 3rd century-esque.
Lieutenant Barrett, can you do me a favor?
Sir.
Can you turn off your loop?
Aye, sir.
Okay, so first of all, Dash, gain a drama point because you didn't even need to make a roll, but that was totally right. Second of all, up on the surface, Lieutenant Barrett turns off his loop. Bale Theor says, and another thing,
I tap on the glass again this time.
Okay, Bale Theor disappears. In the tube, the hand comes up again, and then another hand, and then you see a bird-like golden eye come out of the darkness to press itself against the glass.
I wave, but then I also do this to show that all the people are being unfrozen.
It disappears, and the liquid becomes extremely frothy for a few moments. Captain, says Lieutenant Monica, coming up the stairs to the big cryopod. Thank you for unthawing me. I'd like you to meet Simone Lee, one of the hydrobotanists with the colony. And Simone says, hello. And she's like kind of got 1st-degree burns and she's a little bit, injured, but she's, oh, thank you. You freed all the other colonists. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. And you can see that the bird-like Damians are clustering in the passageway, talking to one another in their native tongue and occasionally doing that owl almost 360 look over at you on the dais.
Can I just start treating Simone while she's talking?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, she is perfectly happy to let you treat her. She's not feeling super great.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Balfour to appear. As the thing, because I know clearly whoever's in the tank saw
Yes. There is the machinery around the big central tube makes a whirring noise as it noticeably cycles up. And then in the chamber amidst all of you, Balthior appears, and this time he's 3 meters tall. His head is nearly brushing the ceiling. He says, "How dare you?
Oh,
How dare you?
be quiet. Get down
No!
here.
This is my duty. I am the guardian. These
Oh.
are mine to do with as I wish."
You know we're right by your tank, right?
You know I still have access to the power in this entire complex. I could, and then one of the Damions steps forward and says, "Balthior, please stop. You have forgotten your purpose." And Balthior does the whole, "How dare you speak in such a way to me? I am your master." Ah! And the Damion who spoke up said, "No. You were the one who was given the honor of awakening us when the danger had passed, and you have been awake and alone for so long that you have forgotten." And Balthior says, "And it was you who abandoned me. You! That is why I must entertain myself." And he just starts raving again.
All right. Basically, Barrett, Krill, Barrett, Sewell, if you can deal with that, I'd appreciate it.
"No problem, Captain." "What do you mean, Captain?"
You got control of the system, right?
"We
Yes,
do,
sir.
sir."
Yeah, just cut that down to size, please.
"Okay."
Does he mean do you mean reduce power, sir? Do you want me to shut it off?
I was more if you could control the. It was more to be like if you can control the actual like project. If you have access to the system, right? You could loop him,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah,
could
we
probably
did
still
that
control
before.
what he's doing. So
I may be able
control.
to actually find the projector function, sir. Hold, stand by.
please do.
All right. You do. It's not that hard. What would you like to do with the projector?
I would like to disable the projecting system.
He says, "No, I am supreme here. I am the only one left. It is my right to..."
All right, we'll let him out when he's learned to behave.
There is an insistent pounding from the tank.
Yep, and I'm very happy to ignore it.
Okay.
And I turn to the Damien who basically was also basically telling Balfour off. And I say, "Hello, I'm Captain Gerard from the SFS Endeavor. Your planet is in a stable elliptical orbit of your sun. We were unaware that there were any people here and have been terraforming this planet to make it into a colony. Now, it's not completely habitable. There's still some very danger of up top, but I'd like to introduce you to the surface of your planet."
The Damion blinks a couple of times, cocks its head to one side and says, "Many of your words are unfamiliar to me, but I am a Zathion of the Council. What you have said to me gives me great joy, and it lightens the hearts of all of my people. We have been sleeping here until the planet healed itself, and if you say that it is safe to go up, we would like to go up with you and see what has become of our world."
Okay, so guess the kicker is how do we get up here? Get up without getting them in any type of trouble. Like, because it's by the colony, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we should just take them up to the colony.
Yeah. It is a simple matter of Lieutenant Barrett and Lieutenant Sewell to find the doors that lead up to the surface, and big
There's
wide.
a transport tube 3 clicks to the north, sir.
Excellent. Thank you, Lieutenant Barrett.
And before long, all of you and the colonists and the revived Damions return to the planet's surface. And as Atheon looks around and says, "Ah, it is much changed. There is much to do."
And we can help. Again, I believe you were unaware, but there is far greater things in this system than just you.
We had explored some of our system before the cataclysm. That is how we knew it was coming. We are glad to meet you and are glad for your help. Those of us that were awakened for Balthior's entertainment, who survived, feared that our only moments of consciousness now and in the future would be to serve as a diversion for his boredom. But do not treat him too harshly. I fear that the centuries alone have made him go mad. We will release him from the tube when he is calmer, and then we will care for him as best as we can.
He is entertained by struggle. I have an idea. So here is my idea, everyone. Jeff, if I can set the scene.
Yes, cut to.
Yeah.
Cut to, okay. So clearly, I believe Lieutenant Krill has gone through and made sure everyone's in more or less good shape.
Yes.
All
Barrett.
cleared.
Yeah, Barrett and Sewell have like turned down the power in that Belfior has access to. And basically we allow Balfior to appear, right?
Mhm.
And there is a stage set up
Oh no.
and some seatings, and the crew is down, the colonists are there, and the Damien are there. And before Balfior says anything, and I say, if you would like to see struggle, I have some entertainment for you.
Yes, finally. That is all that I asked.
So what
Show
happened
me
is,
the struggle.
and on stage is Lieutenant Monica doing stand up.
So Lieutenant Monica comes out in a bow tie and a sequin jacket and starts doing the absolute worst stand-up comedy that a stick in the mud moralist would likely perform. The Damians in attendance look around and flap their elbows in a sign of appreciation, you guess, while the rest of the crew tries not to look either too bored or too amused. Halfway through the performance, you turn to Balthior, who says, "Yes, I am struggling." And credits.
And that's entertainment.
It sure is.
That's all, folks.
Da-da-da! So that was the game.
Yo.
Thank you so much for playing. This was a lot of fun for me.
Hosting.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I have to. So now is the time where I read to you what I rolled. So here goes. This is my random roll for this adventure. I got mysterious people kept in suspended animation. The crew must perform for someone's amusement. NPC non-crew member needs your help, and a fledgling Alliance colony world. And from that, we have this.
There we go.
Oh, I love that.
It's
Thanks.
so good,
That's
You know
what
what,
a good evolution from those points.
Thanks.
right? You know what I love? I loved the captain mechanic
Yeah.
because I felt like I was helping, but I wasn't taking over.
Yes. That was the intent. So I'm
That
glad
was
that you liked
that's a
that.
super great I liked having a captain character.
Yeah. Because there's always a captain. And the first time I did it, when it was just like, you're the captain and you're the first officer and you're the lieutenant commander. The very first adventure I ever run, they were sitting there saying, well, wait a minute, I outrank you, so I get to tell you what to do. And I'm like, that's not really the point. So I was like,
Yeah.
let's rework that. Let's make it so that you're a team and rank doesn't really matter. So that's where we
Yeah.
are now. And I was like, what if the captain's support? Then the captain just helps. And that's how it works on the show. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right?
Very cool.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
because you send the away tee down and you're like, okay, now I'm just gonna sit back and be like, I have these extra drama points. I spend it for
Yes.
you, and I spend it for you, and I spend it for you.
All right, I'm gonna keep
The
make sure they
captain's
get
just the
back.
drama point dragon, just
Yep.
like mine.
Yes.
And I think I think the one thing that I at the beginning I was kind of missing and craving ended up being solved by the technobabble rule, because you were telling us what we were observing, right?
Right.
So I couldn't actually make that report.
Right.
Which I was like, if only you could text me and then I could narrate this piece. But
yes, and I realized I'm like, they need to know about technobabble. I forgot to tell them. And
yeah. But then you've got like the technobabble thing, and it was super fun to be able to create those things. Now I actually enjoyed I just jotted down some things so I could actually not just wing it, but
Right.
actually have it sound interesting. So
that's awesome. That's great.
But I think it's cool to have that whole mechanic in it.
Yeah. You didn't really get into a fight, which is normal, I've noticed. But one of the mechanics of combat is that every time you get hit, you take a wound, and it's either a stun wound or a lethal wound, or your opponent can give you a temporary and negative trait so they can knock you down or whatever, disarm you. But the first wound or negative trait you receive in combat, you can tear your uniform and ignore it. And I always like telling people that, even though it almost never comes up.
Yeah.
There was one game I ran where a guy was in an environment suit and he got attacked. He says, if I tear my uniform now, does that mean I tear the environment suit? And everybody at the table was like,
yeah.
And he said, okay, I'll just suck it up.
I won't do that.
That seems
bad. Not. Yeah.
So this is where we're going to wrap things up and let you go your separate ways. But I want to thank you so much for being willing to go with me on this magical journey and actually play test the game and show it off to people who are hopefully looking at it on Kickstarter.
Right.
Indeed.
I have totally backed this 100%. This is a
Oh,
game
yeah.
I love and want to see in the world. So
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait till I can show this to other people. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to end the recording here. So